What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and this one I want to break down what's going on with NIO stock and talk about why NIO ended up sinking as we had some very bad news that came out. I'm also going to talk about the overall market, what's going on with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. But before I break down all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you put in $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, why was NIO down almost 5% for the day? Well, the thing is, NIO had potential to try to bounce as it was trying to hold above this $8 support, and we're seeing an attempt to break above the 50 EMA. And then if we zoom out of the chart like this, let me just show you how it was looking. It was making an attempt to hold this support right here. But the move ultimately failed because we ended up getting some very bad news. And now NIO is just continuing to sink back down, approaching the support at $7. So it's very unfortunate, guys. But I have to be very honest with you all. The bad news came out and this caused NIO to drop. It was outside of NIO's control, and I will be breaking this down over the next couple of minutes. But first, I just want to mention that for tomorrow, for the whole market, there's not really much going on. There's not really anything that's too crazy coming out. We have some mortgage data before market open, and besides that, it's just gasoline prices and things like that. Nothing too big coming out. At 10:30 a.m., however, we do have the New York Fed Treasury purchases from the 0 to 2.25 years coming out. Gonna be looking for that. Besides that, we just have some bill auctions, and everything else is very minor. All the data is very minor, and that's pretty much it for now. So it's going to be a very quiet day. Don't forget that we also have CPI for Thursday. So that's in 2 days from now, January 11th. That's when we're going to see a lot of like craziness and such. So for that reason, I just want to note that with all the stuff going on for January 11th, tomorrow is going to be the preparation day for it. So we might just see a lot of choppy price action. There was nothing really new on NIO's Twitter page, just some talk about the ET9. But we had some negative news that caused NIO to tank. NIO has dropped almost 5% on the Bank of America downgrade. This has come out very, very recently, and they're actually coming out there saying that they're going to drop their overall rating on NIO down to a neutral rating. They're saying that once again, it's their models specifically weren't going to be any there's not going to be like massive growth in their opinion for at least the first half of the year. And on top of that, they mentioned the fact that they're, the same things that I mentioned yesterday about their margins and such. So they gave NIO a downgrade, they gave it a neutral rating. This caused the share price to drop. On top of this, NIO Alp's first model to be an SUV. Its deliveries begin on H2. That's once again going to be very interesting. This is going to be relatively affordable compared to other EVs out there. Their sub-brand, codenamed Alps, is an SUV which has been scheduled to hit the market very, very soon. And once this comes out, it's going to cost about 28,000 US dollars. NIO would have 3 brands, with the main NIO brand's price ranging from about 300,000 to 600,000 RMBs, which is once again about $28,000 and a little bit higher depending on the model. That's coming out very soon, so we'll be watching for that as well. So unfortunately, where will NIO be in 3 years? Here's my answer, guys. I think it's going to be much higher, but I think that for the short term, there's going to be some pain now with all this bad news coming out outside of NIO's control. What I dislike about all this news is the fact that NIO is giving us strong deliveries. They're doing relatively well in terms of their fundamentals. Their margins are a concern, but I think that NIO is going to overcome that by mass producing and scaling. So with that being said, I mean, NIO still has a very bullish future. My opinion of the company has not changed, but we're starting to see all these different analysts continuing to come out, continuing to downgrade the company and making it look worse as time goes on. So that being said, Mizuho is giving NIO a buy rating. Deutsche Bank gave NIO a buy rating as well. But Bank of America gave NIO a neutral rating. They downgraded NIO from a buy to neutral, saying that it's going to perform very similar to the markets. They're not saying you should just be buying it or even selling it. They're just neutral. And that's what caused NIO to sell off. We have a big drop in the price-price ratio. NIO has been underperforming heavily, and it's still looking relatively weak as far as the share price goes. Wednesdays do tend to be green about 56% of the time, so let's hope we can see some kind of bounce tomorrow. But we'll be watching it very carefully. There also tends to be more volatility around noon and 2 o'clock p.m., and that's pretty much it for now in terms of this data. Volume tends to be about 70 million, so very close to average, so it's still dropping on average volume. Now let's break down the technicals. There's no sign of NIO bouncing yet. It still has a bearish crossover on the PPO. It is becoming very, very oversold, however. But when you look at the support at 7.52, it's not as significant as the support right here. I could see it coming down to this level right here. I think we have an unfilled gap here, a very small one. So it could drop a little bit more towards this gap. And if it does end up doing so, I want everyone to be a little bit careful. We have this gap to fill at 7.43. Around 7.4 historically is where we have support. So I think that this is where NIO could be headed towards. 7.4, then a bounce could likely come. But we're going to be looking for it to base very soon around there. So unfortunately, the share price is looking bearish. This thing has come down very hard, despite the fact that the company was not responsible. The company was not at fault for causing this. It has more to do with just like external factors, the overall market, and also because of other analysts, such as Bank of America, that ended up just downgrading the company. So it's looking bearish, guys. I'm going to be looking for a move down to this chop area. 7.4 is likely coming. Then we'll see how it goes after that. As far as Tesla goes, I just want to mention that Tesla is just barely holding its 200 EMA at this 234 area. In my opinion, it could make an attempt to bounce back up, but I think that's just going to remain range bound. We could backtest 236 tomorrow and just chop around. I think that's likely what's going to happen. We might see Tesla just trade sideways again because it's going to be the last day before CPI. That's what I think is very probable. As far as SPY goes, we have this unfilled gap, but we came very close to filling it. We might just trade sideways tomorrow as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little downside as well, because of the fact that this is attempting to push up, but with CPI coming out, things could definitely change very quickly. And overall, I would say that we're approaching this resistance level. Still have a downtrend on the daily. Might pop a little bit back test 474-ish around that range and come back down. And just trade sideways between 473 to 474 throughout the day. Then we could see a test 472.5 in that range as well. So I'm expecting some very, very boring price action there. Nvda is still trying to hold up. It did sell off the list a little bit as the market cooled off a bit. Going to be looking for some sideways price action. Going into tomorrow, we could see it retest 540, push just a little bit higher, and come back down to 530 and end up closing around 525 to 530. So I think a sideways day is coming. We could be a little red tomorrow after this rejection, so we might see some sideways price action. As a result of that, the QQQ might push and try to make a break to the upside towards 106 plus, then reject and come down to not did I say one? I meant 406 plus, then come down to 404 and trade sideways. I just think we're going to get a very boring sideways day in anticipation of CPI. I think Apple's going to do the same thing. I think it might push, get very close to 186, come back down and close very flat. I see the same thing happening to Apple. So that's my view of the overall market, the little pops and drops and sideways price action. I think NIO has more downside coming towards 7.4, and I think that overall we're just going to be watching these levels. But that's it for now. Please remain calm, cool, and collected, guys. Do what you have to do. I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you, and peace out.